T. Srinivas Raghavan, the Managing Director of Sundaram Finance, joins us on the phone line to talk about that. Mr. Srinivas Raghavan, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. This is Sonia here. The disbursement growth once again has been very healthy at almost about 20% this quarter. Things are improving since the last time we spoke?
I guess you'd have to say that is the case. At least the numbers would suggest that. But no, joking apart, I think, it's Q4 was a little bit here and there largely because of the emission norm confusion. There was this BS3, BS4 confusion. So we'd sort of planned to the extent that we could, and that, I think, helped us get through the quarter. And, the point you made about asset quality, I think that is really important, because what really helped us, both from a bottom line point of view and from the point of view of growth, was that because our asset quality was so well controlled, Q4 we were really able to focus very much on new opportunities, and all of that is sort of, I guess, translated into these end numbers.
All right, sir, that point's well taken then. But what about your book? How do you expect your book to look like going ahead? I think that you have a fair bit of exposure to the CV space. In the past, you've told us that maybe the construction equipment space could get a larger chunk off the book. Right. What's the strategy going ahead, if you could break that up for us? And from where are you seeing good growth coming in? Yeah,
I think we've commented on it already. Construction equipment is certainly an area where we do see an opportunity this year, because, whatever the government's been saying, especially in the road sector, stuff is happening, and we see this visibly wherever we go. So we see that as a growth area. Also, hopefully, so far at least, all the indications on the monsoon seem to be very favorable. So that has two parts to it. One, of course, is, tractor sales, farm equipment sales. But also, I think there was a lot that the finance minister spoke in terms of rural roads and rural irrigation projects. So that is, again, an area which potentially speaks to the construction equipment opportunity. So that is something that, we're quite keen on, and potentially that can be quite exciting.
What's the current percentage that it holds in your book, sir, and what can it go to? I think last time we spoke it was some 5 to 7%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think, it should start edging up towards double digits. Okay. But, we'll wait and see. I think the way we're seeing the opportunity, it could well get close to double digits, but, we'll see how it pans out.
Okay, so you spoke about construction picking up because of roads, etc. You also spoke about tractors and farm equipment. What about commercial vehicles? Because you have a big presence over there, more than 50% of your book. We've not seen as much pre-buying as the street would have anticipated. Correct. But what is the outlook going ahead?
I think, the medium and heavies were muted last year, and I think the sense seems to be, including whatever we're hearing coming out of the OEMs and CM, it looks like medium and heavies will continue to be sort of muted this year as well. And this is also driven partly by the fact that this BS4 thing is still being, assessed. I don't think operators have jumped in to buy BS4 vehicles in big numbers, not yet at least. So I think there is a little bit of wait and watch happening. Plus there's also GST coming in. GST not from the perspective of what it's going to do to truck prices, but in terms of overall goods movement. So all of that put together, I think Q1 and Q2 is going to be sluggish for M&HCV, is how we're seeing it. I could be completely wrong.
Sure. So do you think put together that could sort of restrict you from doing another 20% growth in your disbursements? I mean, that's something you've maintained in the past, but do you think that could be a tough ask now?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to stick my neck out on, numbers. But I think while what I said about M&HCVs is true, on the other hand, LCVs, last year was a good year. I think this year as well, the projections are that part of, the CV space should grow quite well. So maybe, you know, what you lose a little bit on the heavies, you can make up in other parts of the commercial vehicle space. So I think, you know, we'll just wait it out for perhaps a couple of months and then start to form more, what shall I say, more stronger views on some of these things. Honestly, just now I'm still waiting for this BS4 thing to flow through, because April and May there's been hardly, you know, any supply of BS4 vehicles.
Absolutely.
So we'll wait it out.
All right, so very quickly then, there was an update on terms of a demerger. Is that in the works? When will it come? What are you planning on doing? Because shareholders, they want to unlock some value, and that looks pretty good.
The intention in doing this was to give shareholders, you know, some more value, and things are on track. We've got some of the NSE approval has come. The Competition Commission approval has come. So next step, we're going to the NCLT. So it's on track. So we're thinking end of Q2 or early Q3 is when all the approvals should be in place, God willing. And so far, you know, things are on track.
Okay, all the best, and
Thanks very much.
hope to speak to you soon on your earnings once again. Well, that's